Hello everyone, I know you have been waiting for this, so here it comes. The recipe for my awesome gingerbreads. Well, not my, because the recipe is an old and traditional one. Something I found a couple of years back and fell in love ever since. What we're going to need for quite a big batch of dough is 1 kilogram flour, preferably one that is marked as bread flour or with the number of around 5, maybe 600. Half a kilo of natural honey. Some people will tell you that artificial works better because it doesn't produce as dry cookies, but personally I prefer natural one. 1.5 cups of sugar. You can use less, but if you got a really good spice, you want that sweetness. 3 eggs, 250 grams of butter, 125 ml of milk or half cup, 3 teaspoons of baking soda, and the mixed spice. I've got my own homemade blend. If you're buying store-bought one, you want around 80 grams of spice. Homemade can be 60 because it's pure spice, no additives, and the spice mix is actually one of the secrets for a really good gingerbread. If you check the contents of the store-made spice mixes, usually they start with flour or sugar. So basically what you're paying for is mostly sugar and flour, just a bit of spice. You want to make your own for the real experience, you know. Open this jar and it hits you right in the nose, pure spice. And it's not even that good because I use pre-ground spices. You grind them on your own, you mix them fresh, heaven. I'm going to put the ratios for the mix on the screen so you can try to make your own. Obviously, these are just guidelines. If you don't like some of them, like maybe you don't like anise seeds, skip that out. You're afraid the pepper is going to be too much, leave that out or just cut down the amount. The original recipe, as you can see, calls for 10 grams of black pepper. I'm using around 6-7 grams, a lot less, and it's still very, very spicy. Pepper may seem weird in a cookie. Originally, gingerbreads were more of a savory bread item. The pepper is even in the original Polish name. It's piernik. First things first, we're going to need a pot. One with a nice thick bottom, because we're going to be slowly heating up some stuff that does not want to be burned. We're going to put in the 250 grams of butter, 1.5 cups of sugar, half a kilo of nice nut honey. You want all that lovely golden goodness in your gingerbreads. So that's it. We're going to put that on a low heat and slowly bring it up to temperature. We want the sugar to dissolve. That in turn will have to cool down before making up the dough. Okay, so our buttery, sugary honey mixture is ready. What we want to do now is to pour it out of the pan in which we cooked it into a bowl to help it cool down faster. Remember, pots retain a lot of heat. So set it aside someplace cold, give it a stir every once in a while. You'll eventually notice it comes down into this nice caramelly mass. Huge warning, do not touch the mixture for at least, 15 minutes, half hour, depending on where you put it. Do not feel tempted to lick the spoon. This is bloody hot. It may not look like it, but if you know anything about sugar melting point, it's way higher than the point of boiling water, so this mixture is above 100 degrees Celsius. The buttery, sugary mixture has cooled down considerably by now. You can see it's this lovely, thick, caramelly thing. While cooling down, there can often be a skin forming. It's basically the same thing that would form on a milk. Just break it down, mix it all back up, and you will end with this beauty. First, we're going to start with the butter, sugar, honey mixture. Next, we're going to sieve in our flour. Maybe putting the all at once wasn't a great idea. You know what? Screw the sieve. This is not a light and fluffy dough. It will still work without sieving. So, flour goes in. To that, we're going to add our lovely spice. Something that I forgot to mention earlier, half teaspoon of salt. We need to mix the baking soda into milk, so we're adding that. And I like to break up the eggs just a bit before adding them in as well. 3 eggs. And we're going to mix that all up carefully, because I should have grabbed a bigger bowl, but me being me, the dough is thick and heavy, especially if we let the initial mixture cool down quite a bit, so you need to put some elbow grease into this to mix it all up. Doesn't need to be pretty, but you want all the flour incorporated into the mix and not get any raw spots later. And that's basically it. Lovely, thick, heavy gingerbread dough. This dough will need to rest and mature to reach its full potential. For that, we're going to put it into a ceramic bowl. Can be ceramic, can be glass. I do not recommend, or anyone, do not recommend plastic bowls for that. This dough needs to rest for at least 5-6 weeks. I'm usually giving it much longer. The longer it waits, the better it becomes. The story goes that when the girl was born into the family, they were setting up the dough and then baking the gingerbreads for her wedding day. So imagine years of proofing and maturing for this dough. Put in a bowl, cover it with nice clean tea towel. Leave it aside in a pantry or the warmest part of a fridge to rest. And when you're ready to bake, just roll it nicely out. Cut the cookies you want, bake them in 170, 180 Celsius degrees for some 10-15 minutes, depending on the size of them. You don't want to roll the dough out too thin because they need some initial thickness to puff up nicely. But that's it for today. I'm going to put this in the pantry and leave it be. I'm going to be back with you probably mid-December when it's done to show you how to make the filled chocolate-covered gingerbreads. Bit work-consuming, bit fiddly, but so delicious. There you have it, people. Gingerbread dough ready to be put to rest.